Welcome into Game Changers.
It's draft week. It's draft week, folks.
The only show in South Florida that can say it has a first-round NFL draft pick
Goldie?
on the cast.
It ain't me. Oh, that's really funny.
What?
Huh?
Like I couldn't be a first round, like it's that far-fetched?
You could. In the television world, you are a first round.
Thank you,
first
Bo.
round pick.
There you go.
By the way, go The Athletic. Vote for your favorite play-by-play guy
There you go.
in the NHL.
Reach into Goldie.
Yeah, there you go. By the way, what number were you picked in the first round?
I think I was 18.
You don't think? You
18, 19.
I feel I'd have that
They had two picks. One was 17, one was 18. It was in between, 16 and 18 or 17 and 19. That was a long time ago, so I kind of get confused.
Let me say this. Some people made mistakes. They probably lost their jobs over letting you get by that far in the draft.
Well, I'll tell you what.
But we're glad you're here.
Yeah, it was. I didn't expect it myself. So it was a little, I actually got a call. Picked up the phone. Hey, this is Paul Brown from the Cincinnati Bengals. We've just drafted you. What do you feel like? How do you feel about being with the Cincinnati Bengals? I'm so ecstatic. And all of a sudden he starts laughing. It was one of my buddies, a prank phone call.
Wow. I knew a lot of your draft stories, how Bo was found. You know, the famous Bobby Beathard came to a game to watch another guy. Bo filled in for that guy that game. Yeah. I did not know that you got pranked.
There's a lot of small things that if they didn't happen, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Right.
I
never heard that one.
Funny.
He's still one of my best friends.
That's a good friend right there. That's a good friend. Okay, well, let's talk about the draft because next week our show is going to be Friday night. We'll be in the middle of round 2 or round 3. Yep. That's going to be a live show, by the way, Game Changer, so that'd be a lot of fun.
Great.
So this will be the last opportunity we have to talk about the draft and who the Dolphins should pick at 21 or what they should do with that pick. Yeah. So, boys, get the whiteboards.
All right, he's back to the whiteboards. Cunio's back.
We're back to the whiteboards. We are making draft picks today. Goldie.
You want me to go first?
You're right across. Are you ready?
Yeah. Now, do you want the selection first? Do you want a little build-up of the analysis of it? What would you like?
Do your thing.
I want it all.
Do
your thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the Dolphins clearly, as they always do, they'll take the best player on their board, regardless of position. And Chris Greer is one of these guys that looks out not only to this September for opening day, but a year or two down the road for the roster. All that said. Great that Jalen Phillips says he's going to be back.
Yeah.
We don't know about Bradley Chubb. You lost Van Ginkel. You lost Wilkins. I know they don't draft for need. They draft the best player, but I'm going with this guy from Florida State. Jared, he can get after the quarterback. Yep. You got a new coordinator, Anthony Weaver, which it looks like Weaver wants the versatile guys. He can stand up. He can go down the line. He's played big-time college football. Great motor. And like I said, you lost a lot of those guys in the front seven. Go get a guy that can get to the quarterback.
He's there at 21?
He better be there because I got him as my pick.
That's right.
No, I love it.
I think he's in that ballpark, right? Of 21.
I love the pick. I just think he's going to go earlier.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Did you like I put the hashtag Go Knowles?
There you go.
And the at FSU football. So we can give him a little. Yeah, you like that?
They'll retweet this segment for you.
Who, the Knowles will?
There you go.
All right.
I'll make a call.
All right, do that.
Hashtag national championship.
I think there's a chance they may move out of the pick.
Okay.
And maybe drop down a little bit.
Very
and
creative.
And maybe pick up a little bit. Okay. But if they stay, this is my guy. Keon Coleman, FSU.
Wow.
He's 6'4", 215 pounds. He can jump.
Yeah.
He can, and you put him with Waddle, and you put him with Tyreek.
Yeah.
And look, you're trying to get the most out of Tua. Give him another receiver and let that offense go.
He's a freak. I love that pick, Bo.
I knew you would.
You mentioned
you're going to be one of these guys.
So I don't get the FSU. I can't get on the FSU.
You do. This whole
But
segment.
you're going to be one of those guys. He's going to be one of those draft like, that's a great pick. Oh, that's a great call on every pick.
I'm jealous. I'm honestly jealous because I don't think he's going to be there at 21. But I love that because I think he could be there.
My number 2 would be Cam Kitchens.
Cam Kitchens.
I like that. Safety out of the U.
Need a safety. Okay.
Out of the U.
Goldie, you and I once again in lockstep with our thinking.
Yeah, what do you got?
Part of this is because of the name, but it's also because of the production, because he's 6'5", weighs 260 pounds, and runs like a gazelle. Latu from UCLA.
Oh, you just want to say Latu. He likes saying it. Yeah.
So, yes.
Does he come in wearing a lava when he's introduced?
There you go. Well, listen, getting a defensive end from a guy who played at UCLA, at least at one point in his career, worked out pretty well for the Dolphins and Jalen Phillips. Why not keep that pipeline going? And wearing number 15, too, it kind of looks like Jalen out there. And obviously, yes, because of the injuries. You said something, though, about Chris Greer moving back and forth in the draft. It was interesting this week. He's mentioned that he doesn't have 21 first-round grades on players.
Yeah.
So that could be a sign that they do move back and try to get some more picks.
They may just go down to 25. They may go to 28.
So that should be a big drop.
Just to pick up a little something in there and still get a guy. So I would say if they would go back, then that would probably be a Cam Kitchens, because I think he's a lower first-round, upper second-round pick in this draft.
No third-round, no fourth-round pick. So if they can do that and pick up an extra pick around number 100, 120, it actually makes sense.
An easy swap. You drop back.
And look, it's not like he hasn't done. It's not like Chris Greer hasn't done that before.
Oh, there's a better than 50-50 chance he'll do something.
There's a lot of people that are down on Chris Greer. I'm still bullish on Chris Greer. I think he's done a lot of good things. Some of the guys he gets are unrestricted free agents, or they weren't drafted, non-draftees, and the other people. I think he's done a good job, contrary to what a lot of people in this town think.
Yeah, I think overall, you look at it. Noah Igbenogany, we were talking before the show, is basically in the last 5 years basically been the one first rounder that didn't work out.
Which is a great percentage.
Right.
Yeah,
when you go back to Wilkins, Tua, Waddle, Jackson, Phillips.
Look at those 5 guys that left in free agency.
Right, somebody picked
all of them were first-round picks. Right?
Yep.
All of them. All draft picks. Because
Van Ginkel wasn't, but he played like a first.
He was second round. Baker was a second or third, but they were all homegrown draft picks.
Van Ginkel was maybe the most impressive of all those picks, because you got him so late. He was a guy people didn't really know about, and look what he turned into. So good that he left for big money.
It ended up being a good problem to have, and they're already facing this problem because they're going to pick up the 5th-year option on Jalen Phillips and Jalen Waddle.
And I think that's a great. I think that's a great move by Chris this time around. So you're not in that situation where they become free agents and then the market opens up and you just say bye-bye to them. I think locking them down early, very good move by him.
Well, you wonder if they get it done. So like they're going to pick it up on Waddle. Devonta Smith signs that contract with the Eagles at almost $25 million a year. So. You can go into the 5th year with Waddle, but do you really want to? Do you want to try to get it done beforehand? But it could be a wait-and-see situation. Some guys, they lie. For all the guys on defense that left, you had Austin Jackson that they locked up during the season, so you didn't have to worry about that position. Obviously, Chris Greer and that staff put a premium, as we're finding out, on certain positions. Maybe not always the player. So you're paying Jalen Ramsey $30 million. You gave Jackson, you made sure you had him. You're paying Tyreek Hill $30 million.
Right. And I think that also has to do with the belief in your coaching staff, because you did see the job Butch Berry did throughout the year as that offensive line rotated. You're not seeing them have to spend the capital on offensive line
so
Robert
with
Hunt.
Butch, what we saw from him last year, I would be comfortable them getting a 3rd round, or I don't know, if they get a 3rd round pick, and let him develop this guy, because I think he's a very good technical coach. He touches fundamentals and technique, and that's what players need these days.
So that was going to be my next question. What do you think the reaction from Dolphins fan base would be?
No, it's going to be the same one every time.
If they went for an offensive line.
No. Let me finish that.
Address that.
So almost every year I would go, what do you want to? I want to draft an offensive guard. I want a big offensive guard or a big offensive tackle. No one wants to draft. That's not. No one wants to draft. And then in the middle of the season, we don't have any good offensive linemen. Our offensive line's bad. We can't win because of our. So I'm always, if there's a guy with a 1st-round pick that's an offensive guard or tackle, and we were drafting a little higher, I would have been in that. I would have been in that neighborhood.
Well, all the guys we picked here, it would not be surprising though. The kid out of Duke, Graham Barton, who has played tackle. Teron Armstead probably only has 1 year left.
Centers in there too.
And if you could get, and the guy, the Abram Brewer from the Titans was not a center until recently. He converted. So if there's a guy there that they think is really good at center, or a guy like Barton who could be the left tackle of the future and could play guard this year, it would not be a surprise to see them go there also.
They don't score touchdowns, so I don't want to see it.
Robert Hunt almost scored a touchdown that one time.
Yeah, he got in the end zone. He got in the end zone.
By the way, without those guys, the other guys can't score touchdowns.
Yeah, see, that's it. He's the
He's the week 8.
He wants the flash.
He's the week 8 guy that says we need some linemen. Yeah, but you didn't want to pick any.
He's the guy that buys a Lamborghini. He's the guy that buys a Lamborghini. He's the guy that buys a Lamborghini. I'm on my Toyota Celica driving by, going, "Hey, your car's broken down."
You wouldn't stop and pick me up?
No.
He'd call 911 for you.
Yeah.
The Florida Road Rangers.
I'll call AAA for you.
Tua actually drove by Teron Armstead one time when he was broken down.
broken down.
Yeah, that did happen.
Was he playing at that time or was he hurt?
No, they were both playing.
Okay.
All right, this week we got a bunch of draft coverage coming up. Let's check it out. Starting on Thursday, coverage 6:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. We've got Bo and we've got Goldie in studio in those morning shows next week.
Waking up early on draft week.
We're not missing a beat. Thursday night of round 1 of the draft, April 25th, we've got an hour special at 7 p.m. Dolphins Draft Central. And then once it all wraps up on Saturday, 7:30 p.m., we will be live from the Dolphins facility in Miami Gardens to wrap up the whole draft, see what's going on with the future of the Fins. All right, still to come here on Game Changers. We've got Heat playoffs, we got Panthers playoffs, but we're going to tell you who's maybe having the most successful start to the postseason. That's coming up next on Game Changers.
Intriguing.
Game Changers is sponsored by your Volkswagen dealers of South Florida. Shop your 7-passenger favorites at VWFlorida.com.
Welcome back to Game Changers. No one is having as much fun as our guy Steve Goldstein doing the surfing celly with Raheem Mostert, then firing up the crowd.
Oh,
you know, they give you a night off from calling games, and look what happens. You go rogue.
Look at the fans. They love him. Fans love him.
By the way, there's a reverse angle of this shot somewhere out there. It's amazing.
One of the people on the escalator took the video back.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, it was fun night.
Raheem's a big hockey fan. Big Panther fan. Huh?
Raheem Mostert and his wife, wonderful people, as we all know.
Fantastic.
Love the Panthers. They go to a lot of the games. So I was walking out, he was walking out. We saw each other, and they won the division, and we said, let's surf it out. So it was kind of fun.
The goal, we got to get him on here, not to talk about football. We'll just get him on here to talk about Panthers.
There you go.
Let's start with the Panthers. Goldie, obviously, we'll start with you. The Panthers get Tampa. Andre Vasilevsky. Are you scared of what Tampa might do to the Panthers? They've had this great season. Will it end in round 1 because of who they're facing in that?
Well, you gave 2 questions. Number 1, I think the Panthers will win the series. Number 2, yes, I am scared not only of Vasilevsky, but a 40-goal scorer, Steven Stamkos. Kucherov with 100 assists. I mean, that never happens in the league. You got Anthony Duclair back there playing well. You know, he'll be fired up. Braden Point. This is a championship pedigree team that I don't think really cares very much about the regular season. And they've played very well the last few months. They don't get scared of anybody. They don't care where they finish. So I'm a little scared, but I think the Panthers the better team, the deeper team. They're so well rested. The schedule has worked out perfectly. They played the last 4 games at home. They found their game. I think the Panthers do win the series.
I think even though they're going into the playoffs right now, their heads are still back last year when they lost, right?
Chip on the shoulder.
A chip on the shoulder. And I think this, you know, they got a little choppy here towards the end of the season. And even Paul Maurice said, no, don't worry, we know. and then you know, I really got buoyed by the last game. They were tied at 2. All of a sudden, bang, bang, all over with. That's the type of team that I think we're going to see heading into the playoffs. So I'm concerned because this division is packed with good teams. And that team, it's a cross-state rivalry. They've been to the Stanley Cup before. They've got a cup already. I believe they have a cup, right?
Yeah, a couple.
So they got a couple cups, so they've been there. So they know what it's like. So I think going into me, I think the Panthers can be that, hey, we're the underdog, guys. Let's show them we're not.
I think the Panthers can finally close the window on the Lightning.
Let's hope so. For the guys that were here for those other 2 series, you know, Kachuk hasn't been here yet, but for the guys that were here, I mean, that first series it was an incredible 6-gamer. Then they go and get swept, which probably was the best thing that happened to the franchise. The most important thing is they realize, okay, this is fun winning 7-5. It doesn't work in the playoffs. Let's get the forecheck. Let's get a heavier team. Let's get a harder gap. You'll hire Paul Maurice, and now they're a team that's built for the postseason.
So tell me about the guys they picked up late. Are they ingrained enough now to be in that mode that they want to be in? To be in when they go to the playoffs.
So they're a lot deeper now, if healthy, which they are going in.
It seemed like getting them in and getting them comfortable.
Tarasenko was moving up around the lineup a little bit, but now he's with Barkov and Reinhart. They think the game. You know, Paul Maurice says every time he's looking down when they come to the bench, they're all talking hockey. I mean, Barkov and Reinhardt have this hockey IQ that's kind of off the charts. Yeah. And then this guy comes in. He's a veteran. He knows how to play. So that allows you to play Verhaeghe with Bennett and Tkachuk. And that basically gives you 2 first lines. So, but again, this is going to be a war. Yeah. They don't like each other. Yeah. It's going to be nasty. And remember, both teams, but you better believe Tampa Bay believes if we beat the Panthers, we got as good a shot as anybody to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
I always the thing I always look at when the Stanley Cup has won, when the team has won that team, they take their helmets off and they're black eyes, cuts.
Well, that was the Panthers last year.
All that. Remember, so it's not easy to get there, and you better be tough if you want to get to the end. And this is a tough team.
Last year's run affected the start of this year's run.
That's right.
Because guys were hurt. All right, we need to move on to more injuries. Jimmy Butler for the Miami Heat. They lose that first play-in game against Philadelphia 76ers. He injures his MCL. Guys, it looks like he's going to be out multiple weeks.
So playoff Jimmy has become layoff Jimmy.
Playoff Jimmy is going to, yeah.
Did you just think of that? You came in with that?
No.
Really?
First round mind right there.
That's pretty quick.
Okay.
That's why I was drafted, 16th, 18th?
That's why I had to say some good things to the fake Paul Brown, so it came up the same way.
My question with Jimmy is, that's going to be hard
Let's
to
get fake Paul Brown.
That's going to be hard to
get fake Paul Brown on the show.
That would be a get. I'm sorry. But with Jimmy, no matter what happens with the Heat, whether they move on or not in the play-in, is this the last we've seen of Jimmy Bo in a Heat uniform?
I've got to think with Pat Riley and his mindset of how you work during the regular season to get to the postseason. And you got Jimmy, who's Jimmy, and he's in certainly the first half he looked like playoff Jimmy.
Yeah.
Until he got hurt, and then it kind of leveled off a little bit. But I think that may have worn on Spoelstra and Pat.
The fan base.
Not that I've spoken to him, but I just kind of feel that way. So I think maybe this is probably if it's not the end, maybe the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Well, number one, I don't think it's really all their choice.
Yep.
He's making $50 million a year. He's like the 11th highest paid player in the league.
Yeah, economics.
So can you move him even if you want to? Now, if you go by the past 4 decades, they will not move him. They are loyal to their players, especially those that have done what he's done short of winning the championship. And Pat Riley is not about the step back for a year. Let's see what he did it once. Remember, they had to pay the price and they brought Shaq and they won the title. They knew there'd be a couple of rough years. Otherwise, it is all in. Every year, try to win a championship. The bigger question to me is, do you have the supporting cast that even if he's out a little bit, can Bam Adebayo down the road next year, Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez, can these guys start to take over?
Right. Become the nucleus.
So if Jimmy Butler slowly, in 2 years, is going to be done anyway.
Right.
If he slowly takes that step back, do you have the other guys? I just look at it, and they probably still look at the first half the other night and say, if he's at his best,
he's not hurt,
we're darn good. We get a 14-point lead on the road against the hottest team in the league.
Missing on Damian Lillard this summer leads us to this question now. Look, the economics of it, $100 million he's due over the next 2 seasons. Can you afford to do that? A guy like Donovan Mitchell, if they could somehow trade for him, that would save you about $12-15 million a year. They could go out and get other pieces. All right, we have to move on.
But before we go, let's congratulate Bam and Spoelstra for the U.S. Olympic team.
Very nice.
Assistant coach.
Go get
Bam on the Olympic team. I think that's great.
Good call.
Bring home another gold while you're
the kindler, gentler Kim Bokamper.
There you go.
Going out of his way to congratulate people.
Must be nice.
What's the world coming to?
I'm multifaceted.
What's the world coming
it's
to?
It's truly ending, Goldie.
It's all over. Off the cliff.
Still to come on Game Changers. We got a lifetime ban in the NBA. What happened to Jontay Porter? We're going to talk about that next. Welcome back to Game Changers. We kind of had a baseball Pete Rose moment this week. Jontay Porter, center for the Toronto Raptors, gets a lifetime ban from the NBA.
Does he get the Knucklehead of the Year award for that?
I think he does.
He made $50,000 on the bets.
Yeah, okay.
It's not as good as $10 million.
$10 million.
Yeah, Bo, the lifetime ban, did the NBA come down too hard on this guy, or you think it's just right?
No. You know why? Because he bet on his team to lose.
Yeah.
That to me is no. You bet on your team to lose. It's one thing about Pete Rose betting on his team to win is bad enough, but when you bet on your team to lose, I'd like to go to one of those, that game, and see how many balls went through and that he dropped or whatever, not to finish. So no, you bet on your team. you're out.
You're gone.
And I have no sympathy for someone like that.
I don't either.
The integrity of the game means too much.
He didn't play in any of those games, but still, and he's given out information.
Yeah.
The NBA had no choice. You're going to see it more and more in these leagues because it's right on the phone. You know, these are young guys with disposable income.
Yeah.
Why would we think some of these guys wouldn't go on and gamble? And you go back, you know, Tim Donaghy, we had the referee years ago with the gambling situation, but it's a lot different now that it's legal and on your phone. You know, Tim Donaghy and these guys had to go to bookies and back rooms. That's not the case anymore.
So you have the Ohtani thing too. So it's already getting its claws into the game.
And that's why I think you're both right. They had to nip this in the bud because once the fans and the bettors start thinking that the games are possibly rigged, they're going to stop watching. They're going to stop betting.
Yeah.
And what do you see when you watch all these games? DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars.
But let me tell you, all the leagues always had that. Remember the NFL? If fans don't think it's on the up and up, the business is done.
Yes.
But everybody, because of the phones and because of all these betting outlets, everybody, all the leagues have said, let's go all in on it, but you're going to have to deal with some of this stuff.
Once people started establishing spreads in game, the betting game was on in a big way, and it hasn't stopped.
Yeah, and we're only going to see more and more players, I think, get these bans.
I tell everyone, don't bet on football. That's a hard bet, my friends.
You gotta protect.
That's a bad one.
Anyway.
I would have bet on you being a first-round pick.
There you go.
All right, more on Game Changers. We got a reunion in Coral Gables. We'll explain when we come back. Welcome back to Game Changers. Guys, the Cavender twins. They're back. They made a big splash.
Look who's back.
Yeah, back again.
Katie Myers leaves and the twins come back. What's that about?
Well, I think they probably saw the money that Caitlin Clark was pulling into the women's college basketball.
By the way, I tell you, I'm interested to see what the audience are for women's basketball moving forward.
So that's my question here, because the twins, they took a year off from basketball. They still had a year of eligibility. They're coming back now. And again, to me it seems, and I may be cynical, but I think this is just the world we live in. They saw the money now and said, let's come back. Should we stop addressing college athletes as college athletes, amateurs, or professionals, businessmen and women? Can we just start calling that? Can we stop with the facade?
It's professional sports. It is. That's which to me, I'm sorry, it is ruining college sports for me. Because I'm back in the, where you want your students to come out, and back in the day, we'd be walking across campus and seeing people. Here, everyone's sequestered. The students never see them. They come to the game. They've probably never seen that guy anywhere on campus, or the girls that are playing basketball.
Online classes.
And so I'm getting a little disgusted with college sports in general.
It'll be okay.
No, it'll be okay.
It'll be okay.
Part-time psychiatrist, Mike Cunningham.
I'm
gonna move to NASCAR.
There you go.
What do you think, Goldie?
It's taken a little bit of the luster off it. There's, like you're bringing up the twins just as the example in this conversation. You leave the University of Miami, then in your speculation, you see a little green. I understand why they want to come back. Why are they allowed to come back? You had other players that you recruited last year thinking, okay, I'm going to be a freshman, and now all of a sudden they come back. That's pro sports. That's what happens in pro. There's no, if Kader Kohu gets beat out in training camp, sorry. In college, I feel like there should be a little bit more of, hey, if you go somewhere, at least you have a little bit of an idea of who's going to be. Now it's just a wild, wild west. Anybody can walk in.
Credit to them for knowing what the system would allow, and it gave them the window to come back.
So, Mike, you're more in the age group of the influencers now. Right?
Sure.
The people that are going on, the people that are using the phones and all this stuff.
They're right in there, the
media. So let me say this. So they were influencers when they were playing basketball. It got them some stuff. Now they left basketball for a year. Maybe their cash flow went down. Maybe getting back to basketball gets them another platform. To where they can,
that's smart, right?
I would think.
You see windows closing, but other windows open.
You open the door back up again.
Nothing illegal. They're using the system the way it should be. But the system is leaving you a little bit sour taste in your mouth. That's the point.
Do we call them businessmen and women?
I think so. I think they're, I think they're individual businessmen.
You know what?
They should have to start LLCs and whatever.
1099 them.
Yeah, there you go.
Did they get 1099 on the NIL?
What's your W-2 for playing 80 games?
I was wondering whether if they get NIL money, do they still have to? They can't. Do they get their scholarship, or do they have to pay for their own tuition?
That's a great question, because if you get any money, you're. I don't know.
All right, thanks for watching us on Game Changers. Reminder, we'll see you next week live. We'll be right in the middle of round 2 or 3 of the draft.
We'll have a pick by then. We should have a pick by then.
Go get Jared
That's
Verse.
my guy.
Go get Keon Coleman.
And Cam Kitchens.
Go get Latu.
There you go.
How about that?
You
We'll
just
see you
love
next week.
saying Latu.
A lot of Latu.
Does he drink lattes? Latu.
Probably does.
You could do the Latu latte, whatever.
Don't hurt yourself,
That's a tongue twister. Get out of here.